6 Star Trek movies Paramount Plus must make after Section 31. As Star Trek's first made-for-streaming movie, Star Trek Section 31 introduced a new format to the franchise that should continue on Paramount Plus, but with new ideas. Originally conceived as a Star Trek Discovery spin-off about Michelle Yeoh's Emperor Philippa Georgiou, Star Trek Section 31 was retooled into a movie after the COVID-19 pandemic and Yeoh's Oscar win. Although Star Trek Section 31 didn't fare well with critics or fans, Section 31 was still Paramount Plus' second most streamed movie in its first week of release, after Gladiator 2. That proves audiences do like the idea of a streaming Star Trek movie, just not Section 31. Future made-for-streaming Star Trek movies could be easy wins for Paramount Plus. One big problem with Star Trek Section 31 is that its reduction in scope left only the outline of the Star Trek show that Section 31 could have been. New Star Trek movies wouldn't have that problem if they were conceived as standalone stories from the start. Movies would be a great way to continue the stories of canceled Star Trek shows, past and present, or to test-run new Star Trek projects without a full series commitment. In other words, there's already a wealth of ideas for great streaming Star Trek movies. A Star Trek streaming movie that could see unexpected success might be the story of a brand new crew on a brand new starship. Star Trek shows are at their best when they embrace familiar Star Trek tropes, a Starfleet crew, moral quandaries, Federation ideals, while tossing that crew headfirst into the unknown. New settings, like Star Trek Voyager's Delta Quadrant or Star Trek Discovery in the 32nd century, revitalize a familiar format while actually being removed from what the audience has come to expect or already knows. A crew of brand new characters wouldn't have plot armor, making for higher stakes. Between the 25th and 32nd centuries, there's a huge swath of the Star Trek timeline that's still completely unexplored and set far enough in the future that Star Trek can innovate on new technology or meet new species without stepping on any established canon. Without any ties to pre-existing characters or canon, a brand new Star Trek crew would create an entry point for new fans while managing the expectations of established fans. A streaming Star Trek movie that exists truly independently of earlier canon that does well could even be the first in a new movie series just for Paramount Plus. After the Star Trek The Next Generation cast reunion in Star Trek Picard Season 3 and most Star Trek Voyager characters returning in modern Star Trek shows, the next logical step is a new Star Trek Deep Space Nine project. While a full DS9 cast reunion is no longer possible, that shouldn't stop Paramount Plus from bringing back DS9's remaining cast members for a new story. Only a few DS9 characters have gotten real updates since Star Trek Deep Space Nine's finale 26 years ago, and a Paramount Plus streaming movie set in real time, a Star Trek Picard, could rectify that. The plot for a Star Trek Deep Space Nine reunion movie should reflect DS9's overall darker tone by exploring the same hard-hitting themes that made Deep Space Nine stand apart from TNG and Voyager. This could be tied to the changeling threat from Star Trek Picard Season 3, which implicated Federation scientists in inhumane research. It could be a grittier take on Section 31 or the mirror universe that corrects the tonal problems in Star Trek Section 31. Or modern Trek's changes to the Star Trek timeline might have affected the Bajoran prophets somehow. The possibilities are endless. Star Trek Enterprise would almost certainly benefit from a streaming movie reunion because Enterprise never actually got the chance to tell the story that it always wanted to tell. Star Trek Enterprise was canceled after 4 seasons, leaving plans on the table for a 5th season about Star Trek's Earth-Romulan War referenced in Star Trek, the original series. Star Trek Enterprise's series finale, These Are the Voyages, was a disappointing ending for an otherwise solid show, so continuing the stories of Captain Jonathan Archer, Scott Bakula, and the crew of the NX-1 Enterprise would put right what once went wrong. With Star Trek Section 31 on the horizon, Paramount Plus has a golden opportunity to build a fresh cinematic universe that blends the franchise's rich history with bold, untapped stories. The success of shows like Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks proves that Star Trek fans are eager for new ideas as long as they honor the franchise's core values. Here are 6 Star Trek movies Paramount Plus must seriously consider next. 1. Star Trek Legacy of Sisko. For over 2 decades, fans have speculated about the fate of Captain Benjamin Sisko following the events of Deep Space Nine. The ambiguous ending, Sisko ascending to the Celestial Temple as an emissary, left the door wide open for a continuation. A film centered on Sisko's return would offer a rare opportunity to explore both spiritual and temporal ramifications within the Alpha Quadrant. Avery Brooks's commanding presence as Sisko could anchor a powerful story about legacy, family, and unfinished duty. His son Jake, now a mature writer, could be drawn back into the orbit of Bajoran politics, Dominion remnants, or even a rekindled war. Such a movie would give longtime fans closure while introducing new audiences to one of Trek's most complex captains. 2. Star Trek Titan. The USS Titan, under the command of Captain William Riker, has long been a favorite among expanded universe fans. While Star Trek Lower Decks gave us a humorous glimpse of Riker's post-Next Generation career, a serious Titan-focused film would allow for a return to the exploratory spirit that defined early Trek. Jonathan Frakes' return as Riker, coupled with Marina Sirtis as Counselor Troi, could explore their dynamic as Starfleet veterans balancing duty and family. A Titan film could tackle bold themes like first contact, political intrigue, and philosophical dilemmas, with a younger, diverse crew complementing the veteran leads. Think Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country Meets the Next Generation, an interstellar thriller with heart. 3. Star Trek Klingon Empire. It's time for the Klingons to step into the spotlight. A Klingon-centered film could explore the Empire from their own perspective, not just as antagonists or allies of the Federation, but as a culture grappling with modernity and tradition. Set post-Deep Space Nine, with the Empire recovering from Dominion war losses, a film focusing on Chancellor Marduk with J.G. Hertzler returning would offer a gritty, political drama about rebuilding and internal power struggles. Worf, now Starfleet ambassador to Konos, could serve as a bridge between Federation ideals and Klingon honor. With a tone similar to Game of Thrones, but distinctly Trek, this movie would expand the mythology in a way not yet seen on screen. 4. Star Trek Starfleet Academy. A Starfleet Academy movie could be the perfect gateway film for younger audiences and new fans. Imagine a coming-of-age story set in 24th or 25th century San Francisco, where cadets from across the galaxy train to become Starfleet officers. The narrative could center on a diverse class of recruits dealing with both interstellar crises and personal struggles, reflecting Trek's optimism through youthful eyes. Cameos from legacy characters, perhaps as instructors or admirals, would keep older fans invested. Think of it as Ender's Game meets The Breakfast Club, with phasers and prime directives. Such a film would allow Paramount to experiment visually, balancing character-driven drama with spacefaring adventure. 5. Star Trek Janeway's Gambit. With Star Trek Voyager experiencing a renaissance in fan appreciation, Admiral Catherine Janeway, played once again by Kate Mulgrew, deserves her own headline film. Set after her appearances in Star Trek Prodigy and Nemesis, Janeway could be tasked with a diplomatic mission gone awry, perhaps involving the Romulans post-supernova or remnants of the Borg collective. Janeway's sharp intellect, moral fortitude, and no-nonsense command style make her an ideal lead for a tightly plotted espionage thriller. A Janeway-led film could honor Voyager's legacy, while showing her as a seasoned leader facing new frontiers, echoing the intrigue of The Wrath of Khan, but with the nuance of